Coming up with a potential ice storm bearing down on much of the state tonight, Governor Andy Beshear talks about response plans. And Miss Kentucky was in Barberville this morning, sharing a special message to the Jobs for America's graduates.
And our winter storm about to be upon us as pockets of heavy rain change over to freezing rain for the overnight hours. I've got the up-to-date details right now as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
As of 4 o'clock, more than 17,000 customers were already without power in western Kentucky as an ice storm works its way east. Can we expect those widespread outages here? Meteorologist Evan Hatter begins our Severe Weather Alert Day team coverage. Evan?
That's right, Steve. I think power outages will be a possibility as our freezing line continues to push to the south and east, giving us a potential for more freezing rain pushing through during the evening hours. Many of us, though, still above freezing right now. Winter weather advisory in effect for everywhere you see there in the lighter purple. The pink areas in a winter storm warning, the ice storm warning in effect for Rowan County right now and back into central Kentucky. As of right now, most of us just dealing with some overcast and rain. Still low 50s at UVA-wise right now. I-75 at London. Smooth sailing on this particular stretch of the interstate right now, but the cold temperatures, they're coming. We may be in the mid-50s in Middlesboro and Harlan, the low 50s Hazard and Wise. But look to the west. It's 57 in London, and it's 37 in Somerset. That's incredible for this time of year, really any time of year. 34 Irvin, and we're already at freezing in Lexington. So that freezing line is not that far away, and you see moderate to heavy rain beginning to work into portions of Pulaski, Wayne, and McCreary counties. That'll be pushing into Rockcastle, Laurel, and Whitley County over the next little bit. And as that moves in, we're going to watch that freezing line continue to push to the south and east throughout the evening, and that's when we switch from regular rain to starting to accumulate the freezing rain. And you look out to the south and west, we're not done with this by a long shot. Still plenty to keep an eye on as we head through the nighttime hours. So temperatures crash tonight down into the 30s with rain changing to freezing rain becoming an issue during the overnight. I'll have the latest timing and totals coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Governor Beshear is asking people to stay home tonight as ice could be on the way to southern and eastern Kentucky a little later. WYMT's Jade Saylor has more.
With another winter storm on the way, Governor Beshear gave an update on what to expect. The freezing rain is expected to make its way into southern and eastern Kentucky by late Thursday night and Friday morning. Governor Beshear warns that road crews will not be able to prep for this like a normal snowstorm. If you are out and get stuck or end up in a wreck, it will take longer for help to arrive due to road conditions.
Due to the storm starting with rain, roads could not be treated with brine and rock salt as it simply washes away. In other words, the rain and then the ice and then the snow that may come on top of it makes it much more difficult to treat.
He says this will mostly affect those with a morning commute. Officials also say there are already 4,000 people in Kentucky without power and expect more as the ice moves in. Governor Beshear asks that people stay off the roads if they do not have to be out. In the studio, Jade Saylor, WYMT Mountain News.
Jade, thank you very much. And when the governor had his news conference earlier, there was just the 4,000 without power. As I said earlier, that's already up to at least 17,000 as of 4 o'clock. We'll hear more from Governor Beshear tonight at 6 on how the state is preparing for this winter storm. President Biden unveiled more steps to crack down on illegal guns flooding the East Coast, an effort to control the surge of gun violence that has claimed lives across the country. This week, another NYPD officer was shot while on duty. Mayor Eric Adams has called on the federal government for help. President Biden's visit comes amid deepening national concerns over public safety and attacks on police. 5 officers have been gunned down nationwide so far this year and about 30 wounded.
The answer is not to defund the police. It's to give you the tools, the training, the funding, to be partners, to be protectors.
The administration's plan includes a crackdown on what's known as the Iron Pipeline. That's the flow of illegal guns transported up the East Coast. It also promises stricter action against untraceable homemade weapons known as ghost guns. President Biden says the leader of the Islamic State blew himself up during an overnight raid by U.S. Special Operations Forces in northwest Syria. About 50 troops took part in the operation. CBS's Deborah Alfarone has more from the White House.
This is what remains after an explosion at a home in Syria near the Turkish border that killed ISIS leader Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi, also known as Haji Abdullah.
He chose to blow himself up, not just to the vest, but to blow up that third floor, rather than face justice for the crimes he has committed, taking several members of his family with him.
U.S. Special Forces had moved in 2 hours before, landing helicopters and exchanging fire with gunmen. This man says, "We went out and saw planes above us. 10 minutes later, we heard screams, 'Surrender, the house is surrounded.'" The Pentagon says 7 people were killed, including 3 children. After the operation, one of the U.S. helicopters developed a mechanical problem and was destroyed away from the target site.
It was a drivetrain issue that rendered that helicopter unusable for the rest of the operation. So obviously it was destroyed, but the crew are safe and sound.
The Pentagon says forces were able to evacuate 10 people from the building, including 8 children. U.S. officials will now try to determine if American action caused civilian deaths.
President Biden and members of his national security team watched a live feed of the operation from the White House Situation Room.
Last night's operation took a major terrorist leader off the battlefield, and it sent a strong message to terrorists around the world. We will come after you and find you.
The Pentagon says the special forces conducted dozens of rehearsals before the operation to ensure its success. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Now, this operation came as ISIS was launching a resurgence, including an attack on a prison camp last month. From New York mayor to former President Trump's attorney to the masked singer, it's a bizarre path, but Rudy Giuliani revealed himself as a contestant at the end of a show taping of the popular TV show Wednesday. 2 of the judges weren't so happy about it. A source with the show says Robin Thicke and Ken Jeong walked off stage when Giuliani unmasked himself. Neither offered comment on the incident. The episode is expected to air on Fox later next month. Miss Kentucky visited Barberville High School today, giving a speech to the Jobs for America's graduates. Haley Wheeler's message to the kids focused on leadership. JAG KY specialist Kathy Sue Smith says the points in Wheeler's speech reflect perfectly on what the program stands for.
Just getting the kids to understand that the world beyond high school, the skills that they're going to need beyond high school, I'm working on now to prepare them.
Those skills can include team building, resumes, cover letters, and public speaking. Coming up on First at 4, young people are increasingly the victims of hacks on social media. What you can do to protect yourself.
And starting to see that transition from rain to freezing rain push into the mountains this afternoon. I'll have the very latest on when things finally switch over coming up.